Hello friends, so we are going to navigate to Home Depot, which is a store that I absolutely love going to. We are big Home Depot fans for our DIY home projects. So I am going to enable FSD here. Give it a second. Go ahead and enable FSD. Alright, here we go. So I got the FSD Beta last night, so it's the first time that I'm able to experience FSD Beta myself, and I was really impressed last night. It was raining and really dark. Around 2 a.m. is when I was out riding around with FSD, and the car did great, no disengagements. So here we are, just gonna go make a Home Depot run. I made a raised garden bed and have 2 pieces of wood that I didn't use and I'm not gonna need. Since I already have wood scraps from other projects. I normally like to have some scrap wood, but I don't need new full-length pieces of wood right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and return them. Get a sip of the mate here. Letting the car go with whatever the speed limit is. I could use my right scroll wheel here and just bump it up if needed. So there's 46, 47. Than what I would get into this lane. There's no issue at all, but normally I would get in the turn lane way back where it opens up into the leftmost lane and then it kind of branches off into the 2 left lanes. That's normally the way that I do it, but this is not an issue. Alright, we got our green turn signal here. I'm curious to see how it's going to merge here. So it's slowing down to let the other car pass, and it's getting over. That was really smooth. Quite impressive, actually. Now last night it was raining and stuff, so I kind of kept the 65 mile an hour speed limit. I think today we're going to go 10 over that, because the traffic's going to be moving pretty good here. It's going to get around this car since it's going slower. I have minimal lane changes turned on, so it's not going to change lanes unless there's enough of a speed difference. I don't know what the exact threshold is, but normally it'll try to keep you in whichever lane you are, whether that be the middle lane or the rightmost lane, unless it needs to pass. So there is different driving profiles. Right now I've just been using the just the regular one. I don't remember if it's called normal mode, but I know there's a chill, there's the middle one, which is normal, and then there's assertive. So right now I'm just good with the normal mode. I'll try out the assertive sometime to see if I notice any difference, but from what I understand, the assertive is gonna be more aggressive with lane changes. It's basically gonna try to get you there as quickly as possible without breaking your maximum speed limit. But it's not going to be doing much waiting around, and it'll be going in and out of lanes if it needs to. I'm a little bit more just preferring to cruise, not really in a hurry. And that's another thing that's really going to change with self-driving cars. And you know, Elon is saying that by the end of this year we should see self-driving cars to where you don't need to be supervising it the way you do now, where every minute or so it's trying to get you to tap the steering wheel. So it needs to be a little bit more assertive here, because it needs to get off on this exit, and it's kind of being really, really slow to get over. So I may try the assertive mode next. It wasn't dangerous or anything, and honestly, probably there's a lot of people that would drive like that. But I normally would have squeezed in that car in between the space between the two cars. I think there was plenty of space. But I'm sure that assertive mode would have jumped in there a little bit sooner. But yeah, back to the full self-driving. It's really going to change the way that people view transportation, because right now it's kind of like this stressful thing where you're just trying to get there as quickly as possible. If there's traffic, it's this terrible experience. If you have to go a longer distance, a lot of people don't really like driving a longer distance. But that's going to be completely different when the car is driving for you, because you don't have to feel like you're wasting your time. And I know that was one of the big complaints with people commuting to work, is you kind of feel like you're wasting hours of your life every day. And most of us, we either choose to or can't afford to live in a big city, so you have to commute further and further out, especially now that home prices have gotten so high. It really is a lot of time that you spend in traffic and just commuting. But having a car that drives for you, that changes the experience completely. I mean, you could be doing something else. You don't have to be fully locked into to having the drive. You could be watching something educational. You could be watching YouTube. You could be watching Netflix. On Hulu, you could be watching live TV. I mean, there's so many things that you could do that would use your time in a more valuable way than just sitting there feeling like you need to drive. And driving, I personally like driving, not in heavy traffic, but it is kind of nice to sometimes just be able to clear your mind and go for a nice drive, a scenic drive. But a lot of the times you're sitting in stuff like this, where you're just kind of going with the flow of traffic, stop and go, getting stuck at stoplights, and the experience is completely different when you're not having to be engaged the whole time into the driving experience. For some people that might mean doing work in the car. For others it might be reading a book. And for some it could be taking a nap, sleeping. So it looks like we got an accident here on the left, but it shouldn't be blocking us. Come on, Scoot. We're in the middle of the road. Someone dropped a bunch of water bottles. Alright, so we're coming here to Home Depot. It's not supposed to navigate in parking lots, so I'm gonna see how far it takes us. Here's someone crossing the road. People that tell you that it's gonna run people over are lying to you. The car stops for people, it stops for stop signs, it stops for red lights, it yields to traffic. You know, I mean, there is edge cases and scenarios where maybe it's like a really hard to see stop sign and it sees it late. You know, I mean, sure, that can happen, but that happens to humans as well. So there's a four-way stop. We did get here first, so we should be going. The car is being really cautious here. Let's see how it does. Alright. I'm gonna disengage because we're already in the parking lot. And right now the full self-driving beta, it really hasn't done too much progress in parking lots, just because that's not the priority. I mean, that's, you know, the least most important thing that needs to be solved. I mean, first you want to solve highways, which is what Tesla did with autopilot, and then city streets, and then, you know, the focus will turn to parking lots and being able to drop you off, and the cargo park itself. So those are all things that are coming, and the car's capability is really close. It's just a matter of the Tesla team picking the focus back up on that task, and it's going to come at the right time. I mean, that's not something that they need to focus on. I mean, if you can get from A to B, you know, pulling in a parking spot is not the hard part. And actually the car will auto park. It's just driving through the parking lot sometimes can be a little funky depending on the scenarios, and if there's people walking and if there's cars pulling out, it'll just take longer than if you just do it yourself. So we're here. I'm gonna go and take care of my shopping here at the Home Depot, and I'll catch you guys later.